buddy.
Hi, friends. Well, from two different parts of Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, Dan, we're thanks to you getting COVID, we're going to be talking about COVID, getting vaccinations.
Yeah, friends, I'm diseased.
And still getting it. What does that mean?
I'm a vector. I am not well.
Oh, no.
So,
Vector down.
To anyone who has any questions about it, just to be clear, our meetup is canceled.
Yeah. Rightly so.
Yeah.
We're not gonna. Well, I mean, we want to celebrate our 10-year anniversary, but
I'm celebrating by getting the plague. So that's how I'm celebrating our 10-year anniversary. I don't know what you're doing, Frank, but
hopefully not getting the plague.
Yeah, don't.
That's the way I'm going to celebrate.
Don't get the plague.
I still don't have my COVID test back from I went and got the PCR because I'm like, well, I was just in a room with Dan, so
yeah, last week.
Yeah, and I haven't heard yet, but I don't think I have it. I don't have any symptoms. So.
Well, I everybody cross your fingers that Frank doesn't also get it.
It's possible.
Anyway, let's. I guess
stories.
There's a show to do. We're going to do a truncated show because I have limited energy this week.
I think everybody will understand that.
So hopefully you can be forgiving of that. And those of you to who, by the way, those of you patrons to whom we have given the holy priesthood, now's the time to use it to make my COVID go away. So
yeah, point your prayers toward Dan.
Yeah,
everyone.
just like you do whatever you do, consecrate some oil and yell my name at it or something.
All right.
Just cast some spells.
All righty. Well, hopefully you get better. I hope
Thank
you do. I mean, you might not, but
what an awful thing to say. Thank you.
All right. Well, Dan, have you ever heard of the Bigelow Institute for Consciousness Studies?
No, but I reject it out of hand. I don't know what they do. I don't know what it is. I just reject it by the name.
Well,
Am I
it was
wrong?
maybe. It was founded by billionaire Robert Bigelow.
Okay.
He's the guy behind Budget Suites of America.
What?
Have you ever heard of them? Budget Suites?
No.
Yeah, you see them around. They have them. They're like little. They're like hotels. They're like
sweet. I was thinking SWEETS. I'm like cheap candy. I thought it was cheap candy. It's a hotel. It's in the hospitality industry. Okay.
Yeah, it's just they make the circus peanuts and
yeah, exactly.
Whatnot, right.
Necco wafers.
Yeah. So anyway, he founded the institute last year to, quote, support research into both the survival of human consciousness after physical death and, based on data from such studies, the nature of the afterlife.
Yes.
Well, they just had a contest, and basically an essay contest, where there was $1.8 million awarded to the best essays. Let that sink in just a little bit. The winner, the top prize of $500,000, went to Jeffrey Mishlove, PhD, for his presentation entitled "Beyond the Brain: The Survival of Human Consciousness After Permanent Bodily Death." His evidence included video snippets and testimonies regarding near-death experiences and reincarnation cases documented by memories of past lives.
Oh,
that's the level of evidence that's required.
My fucking God.
To get
Why didn't I know about this? I could have written an essay. I could have gotten $500,000 easy.
$500,000.
It's just all you have to do is lie, and no one can call you on it.
His PhD, brace yourself, is in parapsychology.
Oh my God.
It's actually, though, from the University of California, Berkeley. He got
Shame
it
on
in
them.
1980, and it's the only doctoral diploma in parapsychology ever awarded by an accredited university.
Shame on them.
So
It was 80
much
what?
shame.
What year was it?
1980.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly right. That was back around the time when what was it? Harvard was studying, what's his name? That Israeli guy that
yeah, I don't
that went
remember
on
his
Carson
name.
all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's funny. There was the number 2 prize, $300,000.
God damn it. Why didn't I know about this competition?
It was awarded to Dr. Pim von Lommel for the continuity of consciousness, a concept based on scientific research on near-death experiences during cardiac arrest. So they're just collecting stories of people who had a near-death experience,
Right.
Experienced their brain shutting down.
The old NDEs.
And they're, again, he's
realize
being
that-
awarded as though it is evidence.
Do they realize that the word near means something in that phrase?
I just love that this is basically like somebody just like saw the movie Flatliners and was like, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not like intentionally die like those ding dongs did, but like, yeah, this will be evidence. This will
Everybody, there's a whole world of NDE out there. People who are who like record them, and there's all these.
Yeah.
There's this whole bunch of shit about NDEs and whatever, and there's all this. I'm amazed. Everyone's amazed that a lot of these people experience very similar things, and very similar things can mean a lot. Like there's a big spectrum, but lots of like going towards light and lots of seeing ancestors or loved ones that have died and all of that sort of thing. And nobody in the NDE world thinks that could possibly be explained by like what your psyche wants to do in a crazy moment like that. Like, that couldn't possibly just be what brains do.
Right.
When they're facing like almost dying.
Right.
That's gotta be, the veil was lifted.
Exactly. Right. Oh, golly. Nonetheless,
you know what would solve the question?
What?
If someone would actually come back from the other side and tell us. Why don't what did Kat Kerr write an essay for this thing? Because she should have. She knows exactly what happens on the other side.
I mean, like if a body had been dead for like legitimately dead for a while and then was like resurrected, right?
Yeah.
And the person then really started like giving out some details, I might be like, that's interesting, especially if it was novel. Like if we'd never heard this shit before, like if he's like, spouting off some really unique and interesting things, maybe I'd be curious to hear what he had to say. Anyway, third prize, $150,000. I won't go into what it was for, but $150,000. $1.8 million total was given out by this Yahoo who's just throwing money away.
Yeah. Yeah, that is
in search of evidence.
That
cannot be ever, like, you can't prove this. Sorry.
No. Literally, you're searching for evidence that cannot be found.
But it also says a lot about what their idea of what constitutes evidence is.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, they don't understand, like, when we talk about evidence, right? When we talk about something being fact-based or evidence-based, right? They don't get that we don't, this isn't just feelings, right?
Right. Or like anecdote. That's, right. I mean, those are all interesting stories. What an interesting thing that you had happen to you, if I believe you. But that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't tell me what actually happened. It just tells me what your story is.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's it. Yeah. I know.
All right. Anyway, I'm going to take us to India Now,
Ooh.
I have been to India and seen the Yamuna River, which is a river that winds itself. It's the river that you'll see in photographs. It goes behind the Taj Mahal in Agra, and then wends its way and goes straight through the middle of Delhi.
Oh,
And it is considered by Hindus a holy river.
how many holy rivers do they get?
That's got a few. They got a few.
Yeah, okay.
This is one of the holiest. When I was there, I was told that the rivers are actually gods themselves. So, like,
you would think they'd treat the rivers better.
You would think so.
Yeah.
And part of this story is about, like, you've got Narendra Modi, who's the prime minister there, who is a Hindu nationalist. So much so that, as we've talked about before, he is taking the Taj Mahal, one of the great icons of India, off of all of India's like websites and everything, because it is a Muslim originating thing instead of a Hindu thing.
Unbelievable. That's so ridiculous.
So you'd think that he would want to protect Hindu people. This is currently we've entered into a Hindu holiday, and I'm trying to remember. It's the festival of, forgive me attempting this pronunciation, everybody, Chahath Puja. And this festival is celebrated by lots and lots of Hindus. Now, I'm going to remind you that Delhi's, the larger Delhi metropolitan area has almost 20 million people living in it. And most of them are Hindu. And so a lot of folks want to celebrate this festival. And the way you celebrate the festival is by taking a holy dip in the Yamuna River, which sounds great. Who doesn't want a nice dip into the river? Except that this river is so fucking toxic with all of the shit that flows into it. Because upstream, there's agriculture everywhere, and they are not regulating this shit. So like there's like pesticides flowing in from agriculture. There's industrial effluent that they just pour directly in. They don't even treat the shit half the time. There is all like the waste from New Delhi, from Delhi, all like their literal sewage a lot of it goes into this river.
Well, yeah, the water flows away from you, Dan.
Yeah, unless you happen to be a little downstream.
Going.
Here's the thing. It's so polluted that there is literal foam on top.
There is like how much foam? How much
6
foam?
inches of white foam on top of this river.
No. Dan, no. Is
I'm looking at a photograph right now.
Like completely like latte. Like the thing just looks like a giant latte?
Yes. Yeah.
Or a cappuccino. It's more of a cappuccino.
Because it's dirty foam. Literally, you can see dirt on the foam. Think of it like there was a holiday display and the fake snow under the tree has been there since June. It looks horrible. Are people avoiding doing this holy dip? No, they're doing it. They're going in. You go in, and if you want to really do it, like some people are just going sort of up to their waist or whatever, but if you want to really do it, you immerse yourself in the water. And a lot of people are doing it. And, Modi's not doing anything to stop this. This is the same guy who wouldn't stop other ceremonies, even though everyone knew that they would be COVID super spreaders. And India had been hit incredibly hard by COVID. I look at this and I think, I look at Modi and I look at our most recent former president, and I look at, Brazil's guy, and I just think these nationalists, these religious nationalists, these Christian nationalists, and Hindu nationalists, they're not. They don't love their people. They're not out to protect their people. They end up killing them.
Yeah, maybe Modi has like a lot of stock in some like dermatology, like something or other, like
right,
like some sort of cream company, some sort of like I don't know, like I don't know why you'd let people in that river. People should just like they shouldn't be polluting it like it is, but if it is
there are multiple ways to protect people from the river. The first thing is don't allow pollution in the river. But the second thing is, if there's foam, here's like the government's actual solution to this was just to drive some motorboats around to disperse the foam.
The foam isn't the problem.
The foam's not the problem.
The problem is what's in the water that could be causing the foam.
That's causing
this
the foam.
Is like,
these are deeply taught. I mean, now, mind you, a lot of the people in Delhi are like, toxic, in part because they have the worst air of almost any city in the world. Their air, especially in the wintertime, is like, incredibly poisonous, not unlike our own city, which has a lot of poison air, but I think theirs is even worse.
Theirs is probably worse.
So they're just, you just got 18 million people who are just like, meh, poison.
They're immune to it at this point.
So there you go. That's that.
All right, Dan. Are you a big fan of the Marvel universe? The Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I actually am. I like many of the Marvel movies. Not all, but many of them. Yeah.
All right. Well, there's a new one coming out apparently. Did you know this?
It came out.
It's called Eternals. Oh,
yeah.
Is it?
I've seen it.
So I'm a huge fan too. Clearly. But did you hear that it's been banned in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait?
No,
and
since
since you've seen it, you can probably guess why.
Is it because of the names of some of the characters, or
no? It's because there's a same-sex kiss.
Oh,
that's how good you are with the homosexual. You didn't even notice.
I totally didn't notice. Wait,
it was so unimpressive. There's like a gay character. There's like a gay superhero guy.
That's right. Yeah,
and he has his on-screen husband. Yeah. Who they have there's like a kiss. Apparently it's no big deal.
That totally didn't even register to me as like a thing. Yeah. One of the guys is gay. It was just like, okay. And it's not, and it's not a small thing. Like there's several, there's a whole long scene with his family and these two guys.
Oh, really?
And yeah.
Well, apparently the scenes with the families aren't what really got people riled up. It was the same-sex kiss.
The smooch.
And let's see. I guess it's actually the first gay kiss in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh.
And
about fucking time, guys.
I guess Singapore, they didn't ban the movie in Singapore, but they did give it an M18 rating, which restricts audiences to those aged 18 and over. That's
you got to be pretty grown up to be able to handle two people just having, just mildly loving each other.
I guess a spokesperson for the country's Infocom Media Development Authority confirmed that it was that the rating was a result of homosexual references.
Ah, yes.
So that's, oh boy, you must be over 18 to see homosexual references. I guess there was also a sex scene between two heterosexual characters.
I don't remember that either. There was.
I guess so.
I didn't pay a lot of attention. It's not a great movie, you guys. It's definitely one of the lower tier in the Marvel universe, unfortunately. The writing is a fucking mess. Can I just say it?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's too bad.
The mythology that they create, because it's all based on sort of like the underlying premise is that these are characters on whom the ancient myths were based, but the ancient myths kind of got it wrong or whatever. Anyway, it's all stupid. The whole premise is dumb. I was not impressed.
Well, anyway, the director, Chloe Zhao, she said that she and Disney, right? It's Disney who's making this decision ultimately to not cut this scene, because they could just cut the kiss and then like they could be making money in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait. But she has been emphatic that she doesn't want to cut it just to get it in places. Like
Good.
And so apparently Disney, they're doing a little math, I'm sure, because like let me tell you, if they cut that scene, what would happen in this country?
Yeah.
Right? As far as like people getting pissed
exactly
about these movies going forward. So, nonetheless, that's what's going on with the Eternals.
Okay.
So
there you go. It's very sad for all those Saudis who really wanted to see it. That's all I've got to say.
I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell us about a restaurant in North Carolina that caught some flack during the pandemic.
No.
Every restaurant has struggled during this pandemic. It has not been easy. A lot of restaurants have been forced to close. And a lot of other restaurants have been forced to really re-examine how they do business and all this other stuff. And unfortunately, because a lot of governors and, the people in charge are fucking cowards, it falls to the individual institutions, the restaurants themselves, to decide what they're going to do about masks and like what they're going to allow and not allow and blah, 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 blah. Now, this particular restaurant called Luna Rotisserie in Carborough, North Carolina, they decided to require masks, which is a good thing. And they enforced that, and especially right at the beginning, and I get this. A lot of places were enforcing their mask rules with a vengeance, just because everybody was being such dicks about it, and you gotta go hard.
Yeah.
So, but that led a whole bunch of anti-mask ding-dongs to decide to troll them, and they would go in and make a big stink and be like, this is my rights and I'm American and blah, blah, blah. You can't tell me not to infect other people and boo, 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 boo. So one group of people in particular went in and literally just, it seemed clear they were there to harass. They even though the weather was fine, they insisted on eating indoors instead of outdoors on the patio. They insisted that they didn't need a mask or whatever. And we're just belligerent about it. And after the encounter, one of them left a 1-star review on Google.
Oh God.
Which is some bullshit.
Like, how do you review that person, right? Like, how does the restaurant,
right?
Like, just be like, 1-star person.
I would like to review you back now, please. I do want to read the text of this review because it's delightful. Quote, "This place is full of satanic activity. As free-breathing humans, we were discriminated against. The waitstaff refused to serve our laughing, smiling faces. I cannot believe the treatment we received here, as if we were, quote, below them. If you like freedom, go elsewhere."
Oh, God. How dumb do you have to be?
So that's obviously really stupid. Now, there's a lot of ways to respond to something like this. But I really like this restaurant's response.
Okay.
Which was, they made it into a t-shirt.
Well done.
Yeah. They did it. The t-shirt has an image of a devil-like character in a mask, as you do, with their logo on the mask, and the sign and words that say, "This place is full of satanic activity," and then they printed the whole review below. So I think I think that's a great response. I think that's exactly what you need to do.
Badge of honor. Yeah.
Yeah. When you get that review. Because, you know, it's good when you're pissing off the right people.
Yeah, it's just so dumb, though. Like, I mean, we've said it 1,000 times already on the show, and all of us in our personal lives just are the unbelievable turn of events with these COVID deniers,
with these clowns.
I've sort of happily just sort of ignored it for a while. Like, we haven't really talked about this kind of stuff on the show for a little while, right?
Yeah,
and it's
we're gonna be talking about it more later on.
It's been kind of nice, though, I gotta say. The little breather.
Yeah. But
COVID drama.
But I refuse to avoid COVID while I have it. While I am feeling sick of it, while it is currently causing me pain. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it.
Well, yeah. Let's do it, Dan.
Okay. Well, you know what?
That's what's up next. Normally we would have a break. Normally we would thank patrons and read some emails and whatnot. But again, truncated show.
Yeah, we're not doing it. So are we just going to dive into the next? Do we want to
dive into the next thing?
Okay, we're just diving in.
Let's keep it simple. Yeah.
Okay.
So it feels a little strange, but it's the 10-year anniversary, Dan. We can do what we want.
We can do it. It's our show. We can do what we want.
We've been doing this for 10 years now, officially.
Officially, man. That's crazy.
Congratulations.
I know. Congratulations to you. Literally, this is the longest I've ever held any job. So, by a lot, actually.
Crazy. I know.
So there's that. Yeah, okay. So here's the deal. I got COVID, and I was fully vaccinated. So that sucks. You know, it's 91% effective or whatever it is. But I'm apparently in that 10%.
Yeah.
Who still gets it. Fine. Okay. And then, of course, we're sort of in the same time frame as the Aaron Rodgers story. Now, Aaron Rodgers is the Green Bay Packers quarterback,
right?
Who earlier in the year, when asked directly, "Are you vaccinated?" responded with, "Yes, I'm immunized," or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Which you know was a bad faith way of saying, "No, I'm not vaccinated." But everybody sort of took his word for it and just thought he was vaccinated. Well, it turns out he got COVID and he wasn't indeed vaccinated. And a lot of hell broke loose on that front. He instead had taken some sort of homeopathic bullshit and was taking the advice of what's his name? Joe Rogan, who...
Oh, yeah. That's who you want to listen to.
Everybody,
for like health advice.
Yeah, never, ever take any advice from Joe Rogan. If you listen to his show for entertainment, don't listen to his show. But if you do, at very least, don't take any advice from him. He is a world-class ding-dong, and he's hurting people.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, ivermectin doesn't do anything. He's taking ivermectin. I don't know. That's literally a drug
Lord.
It's a miracle drug if you have a parasite. It's not a drug for viruses. It just doesn't do anything. No, you
shit them out. You shit all the viruses out.
Yeah. Well,
that's how
I don't know if that's what came out of me, but I've been anyway. Yeah, so and then so those are two stories, mine and Aaron Rodgers. And then I wanted you to tell you came up with a third story that's a person that we know. That is another COVID story that I want out there, and then we'll talk about what they all mean together.
Yeah, an older woman that we know, and I'm being generic about this because I haven't cleared talking about it with her.
Right.
She went to go get her third vaccine dose.
Her booster.
And she was being prudent. She's in the age group. It was the right thing to do.
Right.
And then she had an adverse reaction and has myocarditis now. And it's extremely rare. It's a 1 in a million case for women over the age of 30. Right.
Right.
And it's just not expected.
But we know it can happen.
Yeah. And she has some friends who are, a little more on the conservative side of things. And she's just like, I'm not telling them about this.
Right.
Because she's just like, it'll just be fodder for them. It'll be see,
Yeah.
I told you so. And it'll be a story that just spreads and does harm. Right.
Well, here's what I wanted
an example, right. Of
right. And that's what I wanted
to
talk about was that why are her friends wrong?
Yeah.
Her friends who would take her story where she had an adverse reaction to the thing, and why shouldn't they say, you see, this is a good reason not to get vaccinated? And why shouldn't, and then, to go a step further, if you take my story, Aaron Rodgers' story, and her story, you could very clearly look at those 3 stories and say, look, one guy fully vaccinated against the thing, still gets it. Another guy who didn't get vaccinated but did other protocols also got it. So same. What's the difference? And then someone else who did get vaccinated and got the booster, just did what they were told, had an adverse reaction.
Yeah.
What doesn't that point to? Maybe this is more dangerous than we're being told.
Yeah.
And the answer
seems like it.
The answer is no. It doesn't point to that at all. That's just 3 fucking stories. It's literally the opposite of that.
Right. But the way our little brains are, we're bad at processing this kind of stuff. So you hear 3 stories like that, and now you've heard 3 stories.
Yeah.
Right. And it sounds like it could be this vaccine. It's just, no, come on.
And
it's absolutely ridiculous.
That is exactly right. It is like stories are what our brains process most easily. And so when we hear actual stories, that's going to mean 1,000,000 times more than data, numbers.
Yeah. Oh, we can't wrap our heads around the data for the most part, right? Like you can learn to trust the data, right?
But you can teach yourself to trust the data just because that when it's being collected properly, when it's being analyzed properly by people who are qualified to collect and analyze the data, you can know that it has bigger meaning than our brains want it to have.
Yeah.
Because our brains want the story to have all the meaning.
Yeah.
But that's not a good thing. That is a flaw of human thinking. Yeah. That is our brains being bad at thinking, and that's why science was invented. Science isn't a body of knowledge. It is a system for trying to overcome our own biased, shitty, stupid brains and do better.
Yeah.
And so are those 3 stories, if those were the only stories that anyone had any knowledge of this disease with, I would say that those 3 stories are a good reason not to worry about the vaccine. However, we have data. We have science. We know that if there is a 1 in a million shot that you could get a negative reaction, that this one group that isn't even the whole group of people, but this one group has a 1 in a million shot of one negative thing.
Yeah.
And then we compare that to the possibility to the data on what your percentage chance is of dying from the disease.
Absolutely.
If it's not cared for and treated and vaccinated against, etc. And we can compare those numbers. And we have. And we know the answer. And the answer is 100% get the goddamn vaccine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this has been how it's been for so long. Penn and Teller used to do that show, Bullshit. Do you remember that show?
No.
Oh, it was on Showtime. It's quite delightful. You should probably look it up.
Okay.
They're not always 100% spot on with it, but what they do is they basically look at things and just call bullshit on it. It wasn't a magic show. It was a show about like skepticism. And so they would look at like, organic produce. Is that something that's worth paying more for, or is it just bullshit? Or they would look at whatever. Anyway, one of the things that they looked at, this was long before COVID came along, but they looked at vaccines because, long before COVID came along, there were vaccine hesitant. There's this whole anti-vax movement.
Right. Thinking that it was going to cause autism in their kids.
Autism was the big thing that was based on a fake bullshit story that was later retracted and all this other stuff. But ever since then, boy, people have been all and there is such a thing as vaccine injury that does happen occasionally. But gosh, they did this wonderful thing where they were like, okay, let's just say it does cause autism. How much worse is very occasional causing of autism?
Right.
Is that better or worse than, getting measles, mumps, rubella, polio, all of these things? And it just became so obvious that that even if there were a risk of autism, which there is not, it would still be so much better than what you're risking without it, because people died of all of these other diseases. You don't die of autism.
Right.
You just live a life with autism.
Right.
So yeah, it's one of those things where it's hard to make your brain believe that, numbers in millions are much more important than your neighbor's experience and this is the other thing. Half of the people who are talking about an anecdote, an experience that's their reason for not taking the whatever, half of those people are either lying or have been lied to, because a lot of those stories are bullshit. Recently one of the, I don't know if it was Fox or OAN or somebody started talking about how, a specific way that the vaccine was injuring people, which was not true at all. And then suddenly I start seeing on Facebook and stuff, people claiming to have either personal experience with this, like a family member, or a friend whose friend had personal experience with it. And it was very clearly,
it's always the friend of a friend, right?
Yeah. But lots of people claiming that they're family member or claiming that they're blah, 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 someone directly related to them. And they're just lying. They were just lying. But how do you can't say that to them. You know what I mean? Like, in a polite society, we're not allowed to be like, oh, I think you're lying. I don't think that's real. It doesn't come out right.
I don't know.
And then other people believe it. And then you've got a whole,
Dan.
and then right. Well, I still want a polite society, so I still don't know how to respond to stuff like that. Because
that's nice.
I don't want to, it's not like I'm not rude to people, and it's not like I'm not direct a lot of the time, but man, you got to learn to pick your battles, especially online. And calling somebody out on lying, they're just going to double down. I know exactly how that's going to play out. Anyway,
it would still be fun.
Yeah.
You, sir, are a liar.
Yeah. If it's the right person, absolutely. That would be, certain people, it would just be like, oh, that's a lie. You're just telling a lie right now. And then they'd be like, how dare you? The outrage would be adorable.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Get vaccinated. First of all, if nothing else, I don't think I'm going to go to the hospital for this.
And that's good. That's what it's about, right?
It may be that even if I had not been vaccinated, I wouldn't go to the hospital. But the chances of me getting the disease were very low. And the chances of me going to the hospital once I got the disease are incredibly low. So
yeah,
that's worth it to me. And Now I got natural immunity. By the way, if anyone tells you that natural immunity is better, remind them that a vaccine is natural immunity. It literally triggers your immune system to create antibodies. That's natural. That's your body doing the same thing. It triggers your natural immune system to do what it does.
And it triggers it very well
to
do what it's supposed to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Get your boosters when you can, and stay safe out there. And pray for me while I just sit alone.
All the good that'll do
in my house, sad and sick and alone.
Oh, Dan. Oh, you feel better, Dan.
Thank you.
I know I speak for everyone when I say that. So
thank you. I appreciate
feel better. Let us know if you need anything.
I'll let all of you, everybody know.
I'm sure you could get so much soup delivered, Dan, if you were just willing.
I don't trust these people with soup. No, not at all. Send nudes.
Just have
That'll
to ask.
Cheer me up.
You just careful what you ask for, Dan. I get those emails too.
Send nudes so that I know that Frank sees them. That will cheer me up. Send them all. All right, friends. Well, there you go. Thank you all for listening. How do we close the show? I don't even remember anymore.
You will. You
know what? If you have anything you'd like to, if you want to send nudes, you can do that by writing into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave a voicemail message. It's not going to do much for the nudes, but the telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. That's where you could have seen our message about our meeting being canceled, and click on the like button.
If you'd like to join one of our members-only lounges, you can do so by going to our website, thankgodimatheist.com/members only.
Thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their beautiful music.
And thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thanks to all of you, dear friends, for tuning in. Pray for me. We'll talk to you next week. Bye!
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.